30 years ago, my first band was called Mary. It was a rock band. And a lot of people asked why we gave this name, strange name, Mary. And the actual reason was that was the first thing that came to my mind, because we had a woman who was looking after me when I was a child who was called Mary. The first thing that popped to my mind, and I mentioned it to the other guys, and they said, hey, that's a unique name. Why don't you go with that? So we started off as Mary, rock band which played on the original music 30 years ago, when musicians are not very much recognized as people who really contributed anything to society, which is a totally different story today, because music is a huge industry in itself. So 30 years ago we started playing in a few concerts and stuff that were held maybe 4 or 5 times a year, not a month or a week. And strangely I found that we played only in the city of Colombo, because this was all rock music and it was in English. But found that a lot of people in Colombo started appreciating and recognizing us for the musical talents we had. And then, of course, this is 30 years ago. And then in around 1984, while playing in bands, I found that there are a lot of times, I'm sure all you guys have experienced this, we find members moving in and out of the band, and suddenly you lose a bass player, you take a new one, you have to start practicing all over again. The keyboard player leaves, you have to get a new one, and then he has his own type of arrangements. So it's a constant struggle of trying to keep the unit together, but constantly adding new members. So I actually looked to see whether there was an alternative. And then I found that in 1984 there was a system called MIDI, which was just starting out. Well, that's a long story. So started off with MIDI, and I found that it was, well, kind of a substitute for a regular band. Well, I'm sure all you musicians would know that today majority of musicians all over the world use a lot of technology which is MIDI based, and we have digital studios in Sri Lanka and other countries, and now the industry has expanded so much. It has expanded and also collapsed, in the sense, while spreading out into the world, the possibility of creating has come closer and closer, and actually you don't have to move out of your house. You can even compose music inside your own bedroom on a laptop. It has come so close. That is, the technology has brought all of us together. And it's very interesting to see that even in Sri Lanka, where the rest of the world which might still consider us as a third world country, that Sri Lanka is producing a lot of music which is not second to anything produced internationally. And I'm very glad to say that there are a lot of youth today who are really coming out with a lot of music of very great international standards. And music, please don't forget, music is a very essential part of life. Music actually is everywhere. Music is around us. The birds, the wind, the rivers flowing, the thunder, lightning, everything can be looked at as music, which has an influence on you. So what do you feel about music?